this day and age, most people shampoo their hair every day or every second day, so it's not possible for everybody to go to their hairdresser to have their hair blow dried. We would like our guests to look the best they possibly can and to represent our brand and your stylist to the best by your hair looking fabulous. Hence the reason we want to help show you how to maintain your hair yourself at home. A couple of years ago, we put together a program called our Blow Wave Masterclass. We run it at both salons, alternately bi-monthly. And these nights, they go from 6:30 to 8:30. I run through everything that you need to know and learn to blow dry your hair yourself at home. Right from the very beginning, from myths about shampooing, how often you should shampoo, through to products, what all products are for. We all need styling products, we all need correct shampoos, conditioners and treatments, and sometimes we get lost in the how many products there are in the world and what's the right ones for you. We use all Aveda products, so there's a lot of history, a lot of story that goes with Aveda. We talk about that. There are a lot of products in the Aveda range, so ensure that you have the correct products. We also ask you to bring your blow dryer, your brushes, anything you use at home to blow dry your hair or maintain your hair, because sometimes, because you don't have the training that we have, sometimes you're using equipment that we couldn't even use to get a great result. So we go through all of that in the 2-hour masterclass. On top of this, we feel that the more education we can give our guests on how to look after their hair themselves, the better condition their hair will be in, and it just helps with maintaining hair colour and looking great all the time. As always, before I start blow drying, I'm going to use damage control because that protects the hair and stops the frizzies and fluffy hair, and also protects the hair from the sun and the wind. So that's my very first product. I'm putting my first product, my prep products on first. So the next one will be the Damage Remedy Daily Hair Repair. That is comes part of the Damage Remedy family. It's particularly for hair that's got a lot of colour work in it or some extremely damaged for whatever reason. Our blow dry that we're doing this time on Amy is a very high colour. She's naturally a medium brown and she's almost to a white blonde. So it's highly coloured hair. It's fine, it's fabulous, it looks great, but we need really emphasis the type of products we're using on Amy's hair. We're then going to go into the Smooth Infusion range. The Smooth Infusion range is for frizzy, fluffy, curly hair. It's an amazing range and we have a huge amount of products now. And they do lots of different things, and that's where you need to really be talking to your stylist about making sure that you've got the right products, because we can achieve lots of things these days just by the type of products that you're using. Now there's some different ones with this infusion range. Naturally Straight is my prep product that I'm going to put in next. And Naturally Straight is very different, very new product, and it actually has a memory retention and it helps to remind the hair that you want to keep it straight. And in Amy's case, Amy's hair is very fluffy, frizzy, curly, and she likes it fairly straight. So if I use this regularly, her hair will lose a lot of its frizzies and fluffies. And I've been using this personally on a lot of my guests for nearly 2 years, and the difference in their hair long term has been amazing. I'm then going to start on my styling products, and the next product I'm going to use is the Glossing Straightener, again in the Smooth Infusion range. And the Glossing Straightener as a styling product will put weight into the hair and help me keep those frizzies and fluffies away to help stop the curl and the volume. At some stage I will use the Light Element smoothing fluid. We can use that wet or dry, and that actually helps to smooth the hair and keep it flat, and that can be used wet or dry. And I'm going to finish off that whole look with the Control Force. The Control Force is firm. the hair won't move after it. So we're repelling the moisture that can go towards making hair go frizzy and fluffy, you know, during the day or during the night. You know, if you're out, you want straight hair, you want it to stay straight, well, the control force will make sure it does that. You can still brush it out. Tonight, Amy will be able to brush out the control force spray, but her hair will bounce back and it shouldn't go frizzy or fluffy or curly, and her blow dry should stay in really well for tomorrow. So we're starting off with Amy's hair with the damage control first to protect the hair from the heat from the blow dryer. Then our daily hair repair leave-in treatment. Make sure that's evenly distributed. And the blow wave we're doing this with Amy is for frizzy, fluffy, shortish hair. Then we're layering our naturally straight. Because her hair is frizzy and fluffy, you'll see during the video that will show you a little bit of how frizzy her hair is. Doesn't look it at the moment when it's wet, but it is very fluffy and frizzy and curly. So I'm just taking the excess moisture out so that I can put my styling products in. We've done our treatment and our control. Now we're putting our styling products in, so glossing straightener. Just make sure that you don't put it all in one place, that you evenly distribute it right the way through, especially around that hairline. Don't forget, it's always easier when you're doing your hair yourself at home to keep nice and neat sections, and don't forget to have those section clips because it really is your savior. You can't dry a huge big hunk of hair all in one go. So you can see that I'm doing it starting with the front first because Amy's hair is frizzy and fluffy, and especially around that hairline, that's the last place that we want the curl. Now I'm using my favourite, my paddle brush. I'll use the paddle brush on the flatter, longer areas. So just stretching, making sure you get the brush right up and under that hair, because frizzy, fluffy hair, it will just bounce from the roots if you don't pull it really straight. When I get shorter areas, I'll go in with my round brush. Amy has quite a bit of new hair around the hairline, even though her hair is, she's got a lot of hair and it's frizzy and fluffy, it's also quite fine. So fine hair, you do have a lot of little bits around the hairline often. So just get those twisted around your smaller round brush to straighten the hair. Really put your force in between it. Be really firm with frizzy, fluffy hair. You need to take control. If you're wishy-washy with it and you don't hold it firmly, it will just bounce up and you'll end up with frizzy fluffies within a couple of hours. So again, just section your hair out, get your next section and just follow through. Keep the heat of your blow dry on the top at all times because you don't want volume on the underneath. You want to keep the hair smooth, so continually dragging the hair straight and down, and keep your heat of your blow dry on the top. When you're straightening hair, it is always better to have your dryer as hot as you can. You're not going to do damage to your hair as long as you've got all those products on beforehand. So keep smoothing, turning the hair over your brush and making sure that that hair is really dry before you go on to the next section, because curly, frizzy, fluffy hair will go curly if it's not really dry. So you can see on the underneath of Amy's hair how curly it is. So I'm really stretching it with a medium-sized brush. It's the largest brush that I can get in under there because I don't want volume. I just want to straighten it out. Now you can see I've got the dryer right on top of the hair and I'm following it so that we can get it as straight as possible. And then once I've got the frizz out, I then just keep the dryer on the top of the hair and dry it with my fingers. So again, stretching out, keeping the brush, dragging it down keeping your heat on top of it, and then just once you've got it almost dry, just drying it without your brush to get the drag onto it and not to get the volume. But just make sure you've got most of the moisture out before you do that. And see how I'm pulling it down with my fingers? Moving up to your next section now, to a medium large brush. Really turning the hair, getting the brush right into the root and dragging it firmly and straight. Just keep turning it over, and I can stress enough that that hair must be dry, each section dry, because you'll just end up with it jumping up and you'll get the frizzies and the fluffies back. Be firm with the hair, and brushing it backwards and forwards really helps to keep it straight. Go into your next section and just more of the same, just brushing it down, firm, brushing it up, dragging the hair out as much as you can. Keeping that blow dryer on top of your brush, quite close to the hair, so that you're not giving the hair the opportunity to jump up. And see how it's smoothing down really nicely. You can't do that if the hair's wet. You need the hair to be almost dry to be brushing it backwards and forwards. Now we're coming up to our top sections. Again, keeping your sections and your hair out of the way. It just makes it so much easier, and especially when you've got frizzy, fluffy hair with a lot of volume. So just keep turning it over, picking up your sections and just dragging it nice and firm. Let you take control of the hair. If you let the hair control you, it'll do what it wants to do. And this hair wants to go frizzy, it wants to be fluffy, and it wants to be curly. So we've got to take control and make sure that we've got it doing what we want it to do, and it's what the style is that we want it to do. So our last section, I'm using my paddle brush again because I want this hair flat like I did around the face. So just turning it over on your paddle brush, dragging it firmly. And you'll see that even though I don't have the section clips in, you're kind of doing imaginary sections. Now we're just brushing the hair against the way you want it to go, backwards and forwards, up and over. And this is just double checking that the hair is absolutely dry. I can't stress enough how much it needs to be dry. You leave any bits that are damp and you will end up with it just fluffing up again. Now we're just finishing off. I'm going to do some Light Elements gloss. That will just take those fluffy bits on the top, settle them all down, gives the hair a nice shine, holds the hair all together, and helps as protection as well. I just like to work it all the way through the hair. It just gives the hair a little bit of texture too without really any weight. My fingers are just holding the hair together and just piecing it. And I just like an unstructured look, so that's why I like to use my fingers. Just bring that hair forward, clumping it together and just finishing it off nicely. And you'll find that, it's really nice and straight and smooth, and it should stay that way until she gets it wet or damp. Finishing off with the control force, nice and firm, and that will stay nicely for her.